So, good morning everybody. Myself Acharya Vishvendraभ. Today I'm going to discuss optimal physics worksheet 2 on the topic of momentum. So, let's begin. So, in the second worksheet, the first question is what is dimension of momentum? So, we know that momentum is mass into velocity. So, dimension of mass is m1 and that of velocity is L1 t minus 1. So, the dimension will be m1 L1 t minus 1. Next question is SI unit of momentum. So the SI unit of momentum will be, you can say mass as SI unit kg, length as SI unit meter, and time as SI unit second minus 1. So this is one of the unit. You can also say that momentum can also be related to force multiplied by the time interval. So using that concept, we can say that SI unit is equal to Newton second. So both of these are equivalent to each other. So either way you can use it. Next is CGS unit of momentum. So using the same concept, we can say that CGS unit of momentum using the concept of dimension, we can say gram, centimeter, second minus 1, and using the concept of force, CGS unit of force is time, and obviously this is second. So both of these are CGS unit of momentum. So in this way, we can find the CGS unit of momentum. Now we have to find SI upon CGS unit of momentum ratio. So SI unit is kg meter per second and CGS unit is gram centimeter per second. So both of these are equal. Then we can say 1 kg is equal to 1000 gram. So the ratio is 1000. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter, 100 over here. So we will have 1000 into 100, which comes out to be 10 raised to the power 5. So that is the ratio of SI and CGS unit of momentum as calculated over here. Now next question is relationship between momentum, magnitude and kinetic energy. So as I have derived in the earlier case, kinetic energy can be written as p square by 2. So you can verify it as p is equal to m into v, so m square v square by 2m. So that comes out to be half mv square. So you can verify this. So kinetic energy is equal to p square by 2m, where p is the magnitude of linear momentum and m is the mass. Now there are some graphs related to question. Graph between kinetic energy and momentum when mass is constant. So using the expression k is equal to p square by 2m, we can say that k is proportional to p square. So the graph will be a parabola. So if we draw the graph, it will be a parabola like this. So this is a parabolic graph. Now, if we draw the graph between kinetic energy and p square, so as k is proportional to p square, we assume p square is equal to x. So we have k proportional to x. So the graph will be a straight line. Now, if momentum is constant, graph between k and m, so we can say that k proportional to 1 by m as momentum is constant over here. So the graph will be a rectangular hyperbola. So it will be a graph like this. Next is graph between k and 1 by m. So you can say that k is proportional to 1 by m. And I take 1 by m as x. So k is proportional to x, so the graph here will be a straight line. So you see there are many possible variations in the graph, in the values of expressions, and we have used manipulations using many techniques. As most of the questions asked in JEE and NEET are based on manipulation of simple facts. So it is done so that you can optimize, you can generalize your thinking process along the exam. That's how it is working. So that will be the graph. Now there is a question that kinetic energy is p square by 2. So sometimes you need to find changes in percentage change in kinetic energy. So I assume here that percentage is less than 5%. So the very special case, the elaborated case we'll discuss in the next video because of the lack of space. We have completed 12 questions over here. So the result is percentage change in kinetic energy is equal to twice percentage change in P minus percentage change in M. This is related to the error formula which is derived using differentiation, where errors are less than 5% or changes are less than 5%. Then if there are changes, here in this question we are asked changes. So in changes we take minus because it is inversely related to the mass. But errors are always taken as positive. So errors are always taken as positive. So here we are going to write 2% P plus percent because errors are always positive. So here comes a natural question that in errors are always added because we are interested in finding the maximum possible error in a physical quantity. So if we say there is an error, there may be positive or negative error. So it depends on how to maximize that error because the calculations are based on the concept that error should be maximum. So that is how we can explain the errors. So if changes are there, for mass we will take minus of percentage, and if errors are there we use plus the percentage. For example, let's take a question in elaboration of this. Momentum of a body increases by 1% and mass decreases by 2%. Find changes in kinetic energy percentage. So we use the expression, it is 2% minus percent. Now momentum increases, so we take that as positive. Mass decreases, we take that as negative. So it comes out to 2 plus 2, which is 4. It is positive, that means kinetic energy will increase by 4%. This is what we can analyze using this spectrum. So this is how things are going to work. But if we are thinking of errors, and error in momentum is 1% and in mass is 2%, then percentage error in kinetic energy. So we use the expression 2% P plus percent. Now change in momentum are 1%, so we will just add it out. So that will be 4. So in this case, we can see that in changes and in errors. In changes, you need to use minus of percent, and in errors you need to use plus of percent, because if I use minus, then there will be 0% error, which is not possible. So that was one of the worksheet or level 2 based on the concept of momentum. So here we have covered most of the basic facts, basic concepts, basic terms, basic relations of momentum with other physical quantity. And if you complete these worksheets, you can see that you learn gradually, learn each concept, each term, and then finally, as the level will increase, we'll give questions based on integrated applications of what we have learned. So to remember one thing, just focus on the questions asked in JEE and NEET. So these questions are from the topics, but generally there are mixed concepts involved in them. There are questions which are based on multiple concepts. So if you have practiced like that, if you have practiced in terms of neural pattern, only then you will be able to solve the question or even attempt to solve the question. Otherwise, what happens is when a student is given a test paper, then seeing the whole syllabus at a time, he just gets anxious, he just gets depressed, he just gets low feelings, and because of that, he just lost his control and is unable to perform good in exam. So the psychological analysis of yourself when you are solving questions, it is very important. So just focus on how you feel, how you behave, how your brain reacts when you start solving a test, when you start solving problems. So there will be reactions from your mind, from your brain. It will activate the flight mode because solving a problem itself is a stressful process. So your brain-mind system will try to resist it. It will create stories so that you just don't get into the psychological situation of problem solving. But you should act smart. You should just think that my testing will be done on the basis of question answer session, on the basis of problem solving skills. So just remember the target in your mind, because when you will start solving problems, you will face issues. Your mind system will activate the flight mode. You will feel like running away from solving questions and just reading some theory and doing this and that, but it's not going to work. You must remember one thing, that whatever you are doing, whatever is happening within you, how your mind system is developing, how are the neural reactions within you working, all of that is getting stored in your memories, in your unconscious mind. And you cannot manipulate that. So the first thing is that when you study, just study with the vision that you have to solve questions based on this topic in the exam. So this is the central point. So this is the minimum requirement, that at least you should be able to do the questions from that particular topic. If you want to become expert in topic or you want to achieve knowledge, that's a very good thing. But minimum requirement or optimal requirement your ability to solve questions in the exam so that you can get entry into right institutions of the country and earn many things. So if you have any doubts, you can ask in the comment section. Thank you and have a nice day.